we're going to start from least to best. Worst to best here. Ranked 15th in the Eastern Conference, you have the Detroit Pistons sitting at a 6-19, who recently just traded Derrick Rose this previous week for Dennis Smith Jr. and a second-round pick from the New York Knicks. So Derrick Rose is headed back to New York. Washington Wizards, 6-16, abysmal year for them. Bradley Beal has been off recently. It just looks like things are not looking great for them. Can they turn around? What's going to happen with Bradley Beal as we get closer to the trade deadline? We shall see. The Orlando Magic sitting at 9-17. Tough break for them. Nikola Vucevic will be out for a few weeks with a right ankle sprain. The young Cleveland Cavaliers, 10-16. They've lost the last 5 games. They were at 10-11, and unfortunately, they've lost the last 5. 2-8 in the last 10. Not so good for the young Cleveland Cavaliers, but it's okay. They're super young. Colin Sexton's over there. They have very great front court. You have JaVale McGee. You have Larry Nance Jr. You also have Andre Drummond and Jarrett Allen. So they're pretty young. The Chicago Bulls, 10-14, huge win the other night against the New Orleans Pelicans. They've won 4 of the last 10 games, so 4-6 in their last 10. They're 7 games back out of the first seed. They have a pretty good road record as well, sitting at 6-6 compared to 4-8 at home. The New York Knicks, 11-15. Very good start for them, but they lost the last 2 games to Miami Heat. Rough, rocky start for them this season, but they've won the last 4 games, sitting at a record of 11-14. Only a half game out of that 8th seed in the playoffs. They're 4-7 on the road, but 7-7 at home. The Atlanta Hawks, tough loss for them the other night against the Dallas Mavericks. Very controversial call at the end on Trae Young. We shall see, but they're also a very young team with a lot of star power. You have Trae Young, as I mentioned. You have John Collins, Herter, and you also have some very solid vets who've been injured. You got Rajon Rondo back there, Bogdan Bogdanovic as well, great shooter. What about the Charlotte Hornets? LaMelo Ball finally is getting his recognition he deserves. He's been an outstanding. Well, is he the best ball brother? Who we shall see as their careers continue to immerse. He's began his journey off the bench. He's finally cracked that starting lineup. They're 12-14, sitting at the 7th seed, 9-9 on the conference, 7-7 at home, and 5-7 on away, 5-5 in their last 10. If they get streaky, watch out for them. And the Raptors, what about them? A rough start for them to begin the season, but they made their way back. They're currently the 6th best team in the Eastern Conference, sitting at 12-14. They're 5-5 in their last 10, and only 6 back of the first seed. The Indiana Pacers, 13-13, sitting at 500, 8-7 for their conference. They've won the last game in their 4 of their last 10. So very rough start for them as well. Let's see what will happen. As we get closer to a trade deadline, will they trade Miles Turner? We shall see. Boston Celtics, 13-11, Kemba Walker. They have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum in the crew. They've been iffy, not as great as we expected to begin this season, but we should see them, finally turn that star power on as we inch our way closer to All-Star break. Brooklyn Nets acquiring James Harden has really done pretty well for them. They won 6 of their last 10 games, sitting at 15-12, the 3rd seed currently in the Eastern Conference. The Milwaukee Bucks, after a rough, rocky start, they've had a 16-9 record, game and a half back of the 1st seed. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. And the Philadelphia 76ers, the team with the most chemistry, right? You have Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris. You also have Joel Embiid, right? Sitting at 18-8, the best record in the Eastern Conference. And also, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. They're 11-2 at home, 7-6 on the road. Now let's jump into our Western Conference standings. The Minnesota Timberwolves sitting in last place, a record of 6-19. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games and currently on a 3-game losing streak. And they're also 2-11 on the road. The Oklahoma City Thunder, We expected this from them, but they turned some heads. They made some huge wins so far this season. But they just gotta catch their stride, right? They're sitting at 10-14 on the season. They've won 4 of their last 10 games and currently have a 2-game losing streak. But the Houston Rockets, currently on a 4-game losing streak, they're sitting at 13th in the Western Conference, 11-14. Eric Gordon, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Victor Oladipo. What's going to happen with Oladipo? Right? Are they going to trade him? I believe they will, considering they've been sitting him out for the past few games. It's been a rough start, last few games for them. They've won 5 of the last 10 games, so sitting at 500 right there. But, in order to, for this tough Western Conference, you got to get streaky here. So what's going to happen with them, we shall see. It's going to be tough, man. I really like that rookie Tate, Jayshawn Tate. He played last year in the Australian Basketball League, and he has done. I really like his play. Super athletic. Stretch 4. You can put him at the 3 or even the 2. Very, very good guy to play. And then we have the Pelicans, 11-13. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, but the struggle is on the road. They're 4-8 on the road and 7-5 at home. Just 2 games back out of that 8th seed. But in this tough Western Conference, you lose another game and you're sitting in second to last place. So you got to keep on winning these games in order to be great. The Dallas Mavericks, who will be facing the New Orleans Pelicans tonight, they're sitting right above them at 12-14. They've won that big game the other night on ESPN against the Atlanta Hawks. They've won 3 games in a row, and they've won 4 of their last 10 games. So they were a little off, right? They had a lot of losses in the past few weeks, but we shall see what's going to happen with them next. The Sacramento Kings, very young squad, head coached by Luke Walton. They've won 7 of the past 10 games, sitting at 500, 12-12 record. Memphis Grizzlies, another very young squad, sitting at 10-10. They've won 6 of the last 10 games. The Warriors sitting at 14-12, which is very surprising. Steph Curry's there, doing his thing as usual, but Draymond Green not scoring many points. You don't have Klay Thompson this year. They won 6 of their last 10 games, which is great. Denver Nuggets not doing as great as is expected. 13-11. They've won 6 in the last 10 games as well, but you could just see this Western Conference is so tough. San Antonio Spurs doing very well as well, per usual, 14-11. They've won 6 of the last 10 games as well. 7-8 at home, but the record is 7-3 on the road. The Portland Trailblazers, 14-10, sitting in that 5th spot in the Western Conference. Won their last 2 games, won 6 of the last 10. Phoenix Suns, head coach by Monty Williams. Chris Paul has really done this team its justice. They've won 7 of the last 10 games and currently sitting on a 4-game winning streak. Very nice by the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, and crew. Los Angeles Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Won 6 of the last 10, sitting at the 3rd spot, 18-8 record. The Los Angeles Lakers, 20-6. Won 8 of the last 10 games, currently on a 6-game winning streak. And this is the biggest surprise of the year. You have the number 1 team in the NBA. You have the Utah Jazz sitting at 20-5. Won the last 9 out of 10 games with a 5-game winning streak. Holy cow. Donovan Mitchell, what is in your blood, my friend? Rudy Gobert as well. Holy goodness. What a surprise by them. They've done a very, very great job so far this year. But let's jump into these as we stay on the NBA topic. It's almost All-Star break, so the All-Star game is getting closer to beginning. And here is your leaders. We're gonna go over the top 3 on each side of the ball. So currently, you have LeBron James, front court, 4.3 million votes. Then you have the second one supposed to be starting, Nikola Jokic, 3 million votes. And then you also have Kawhi Leonard at 2.4 million votes right there. That's looking like the starters. In my opinion, the 3 best front court players in the Western Conference. Then on the guard side, you also have Stephen Curry, 4 million votes, and Luka Doncic at 2.4 million votes. Now, this third one's Damian Lillard. 2 million votes. And there's a huge gap in between. Damian Lillard's 2 million, and then you have Donovan Mitchell at 479,000. And I think, 2 through 4 could be swapped out a little bit, but we shall see over the next few weeks and before the All-Star teams are finalized. Eastern Conference, once again, Kevin Durant leading the front court, 4.2 million votes. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 3.2 million votes, and Joel Embiid, 3 million votes. And, like I said, the front court, it's pretty much guaranteed that these three guys are going to win it. These three are the best front court players and the most popular in the Eastern Conference. And then for guards, you have Bradley Beal, who's been balling this year, 2.5 million votes. Kyrie Irving, 2.1 mil, and then James Harden at 1.8 million. And then from there, you have a few other guys down below who really could make that case for the third spot. Between Jaylen Brown, Zach LaVine, Trae Young, I think that's a toss-up right there.